cries from a 68-year-old woman handcuffed and flat on her stomach on the floor in a Sam's Club. The screams prompting shoppers to pull out their cell phones and record the scene that was unfolding in a store in Des Peres, a suburb of St. Louis, Missouri. Marvia Gray was yelling at police as they were struggling to restrain her 43-year-old son, Derek Gray, who was also handcuffed and yelling.
But you know what? It's like that because. But you know what though? It's like that because look at him. Look at how he acting. He's still acting irate. Calm down. To his head.
Yeah, but he handcuffed. Pick him up.
But
Set him up.
calm down. Look at how he acting.
Several weeks after this incident, Marvia Gray filed a lawsuit against the city of Des Peres and 4 police officers, alleging assault and battery and false imprisonment. The St. Louis County prosecutor is also investigating the March 23rd incident. The Grays visited Sam's Club and bought a 65-inch flat-screen TV, but the television couldn't fit into their SUV, so Derek told workers he would return later to pick it up. When he came back, some store employees thought he was trying to steal the television, but after they confirmed he already paid, Gray was allowed to take the TV. But the false accusations of theft didn't sit well, so Marvia and Derek Gray decided to return the TV for a refund. The store surveillance video shows how the situation unfolded, going from bad to worse.
They're not, because that's why he clowning.
Yeah, if they just.
He already detained.
Yeah, if they let
He's
him
detained.
out.
There's nothing he can do. Already detained.
If they let him out, he'll quiet now. That's the thing. He was ready. He was everywhere.
The lawsuit claims 4 officers, quote, violently and physically seized Marvia Gray and Derek Gray, throwing them to the floor, beating them, handcuffing them, then arresting them. The city's director of public safety official press release stated in part that the struggle started as soon as the subject was told he was being detained. This officer continued to struggle with the subject, which led to them both crashing into the wall. Marvia Gray was taken out in handcuffs. At one point, more than a dozen officers surrounded Derek Gray. The public safety director says 4 officers were taken to a medical center for treatment, including a dislocated finger of the officer who originally tried to take Gray into custody. Eventually, Derek Gray, whose head appeared to be bandaged, was placed on a stretcher and removed from the store. The lawsuit says he suffered a head wound that required stitches and metal staples. Marvia Gray says she suffered physical injuries, including to her arms and knees, and mental anguish, embarrassment, and humiliation.
Gotta get him a medal.
He called me a liar. I told the police, were you good to go, man?
He was cussing everybody out, but I think after this, they already got him detained. I need help. A TV. That he bought, he's trying to bring back.
Let me bring in Julie Grant. I have a lot of questions on this one. Julie, how do we go from returning a television that you no longer want because of the way you were treated by Sam's Club, apparently, right? They changed their mind and we don't want it. How does it go from that to police are there? Why are police even there?
Right, Vinny. And that's one of the questions that really needs to be answered. What we do know is that there was initially the question when Derek Gray came back in to get the TV, whether he had paid for it. But he was able to provide that receipt. You saw it in the piece. We were able to get that receipt from the attorney representing both Marvia and Derek Gray, and showing they paid just shy of $1,000 for that television set. So, okay, once that happened, it's our understanding that there was a police officer who decided to intervene sort of on his own volition. That is our understanding based on our conversations with the attorney, based on the documents that we've read, and that this police officer sort of wanted to investigate further. And apparently it was the humiliation of it all and the insult, if you will, that they felt they experienced initially, that, hey, we paid for this, we came back for it to put in our car, and now you're accusing us of theft. Of course they were humiliated. And then somehow there were words exchanged, and it became heated very, very quickly. And of course, in that video, we hear the loud screams, but we aren't privy to the exact dialogue. So to answer your question, we don't know exactly verbatim what exactly was said, but all we know is that this went from bad to worse in a matter of minutes, Vinny. Very, very bad situation.
Now, you mentioned the attorney. I know we spoke with the attorney. Let's take a listen to what he had to say today.
The video speaks for itself. We want the officers held accountable for their unjustified actions. The district attorney has launched a formal investigation into the officers' conduct. We want the officers held accountable, and we want the city of De Pere held responsible for the actions of these officers, which, again, I can't imagine my mom or my grandma being attacked without cause or provocation. Mrs. Gray may weigh 100 pounds, and she's a frail 68-year-old woman, and what happened is really tragic. After they were brutally attacked, they were taken to the police station. Mrs. Gray has never been in handcuffs. Mrs. Gray has never been in a jail. Both of them were taken into custody and sustained major injuries, and then as a follow-up had to receive medical treatment. And above and beyond the medical treatment that's ongoing, they're receiving mental health therapy because of the traumatic nature of the attack. I mean, Mrs. Gray thought her son was about to be killed.
Wow. The other part of this, though, Sam's Club, right, which is owned by Walmart. Are they part of the lawsuit? Have they said anything? Have they commented on this?
Good question. They are not part of this lawsuit, and we did reach out to them for comment. So as you mentioned, Walmart is the parent company for Sam's Club, and we did receive communication back from Walmart's corporate communication center. They're saying, quote, "We want all of our members to have a safe and pleasant shopping experience in our clubs. We never like to see situations escalate in our clubs. And in this case, we were able to confirm to law enforcement that the television had been purchased. Because this is a legal matter between the Grays and the city, we will need to refer you to them." So again, the Grays are suing the city of De Pere and those officers who were involved in these arrests. And to be very clear, while they were both taken to jail, only one of them, the charges only stuck with Mrs. Gray for some reason, Vinny. She is the only one who is currently still charged with resisting arrest, although that was the reason that they were given for detaining both of them at the scene. Very, very sad, upsetting
Resisting
situation.
arrest for what, right? Arrest
Right.
for what is the question.
The TV
And
they
how about
bought.
the injuries? Because I saw the staples on the back of the head. How serious are the injuries?
Yes, the injuries were bad. So with Derek Gray, they appear to be a little worse. That head wound we could see in that photo. He also had to have some dental surgery, according to his attorney, because some of his teeth were kicked out during this incident, according to what they have laid out in this lawsuit. So a dental surgery, and you could see the staples in the back of his head to close that gaping wound that was there on this date. And they're both undergoing mental health therapy right now because of the trauma and the embarrassment. So what started out as a little bit of embarrassment with the receipt and the question of whether they paid turned into an enormous amount of embarrassment, Vinny.
Yeah, and I could, I don't know. I've never been falsely accused of stealing something like that and confronted by police. So I can understand that. What do you mean I'm stealing something? All right. We'll continue to follow that. Julie Grant, thank you so much.
Thank you.